Okay, I haven't talked about grass much on this channel before, possibly ever even, and I don't think I deserve that much blame for not doing this because grass can be really boring at times, but at the same time it's hard to deny just how important it is. It's the 5th largest plant family, the grass family, and the 10,000 or so species that are found within can be found on literally every continent, including Antarctica, and adapted to be found in every habitat that's habitable on Earth, from the hottest deserts to the most windswept mountain peaks, rainforests, and literally everywhere you can find plants, you can almost certainly find grass as well. So let's jump right into this video and talk about some of the common grasses we can find right here in the American Southwest. Now, as far as some of you guys are concerned, there might only be 2 species of grass, those with really thick blades and those with really thin blades. But truthfully, blade size is not really one of the most important factors of identifying grass. What is very important though is looking at the inflorescence or flower head. So let's jump right into it now and start off with this guy. This one right here you see in front of us is Hillaria jamesii, also known as James Galleta. It does have, I think, rather thick or maybe middle of the road kind of blades right there, but the inflorescence is really what's important to identifying it, and that's what it looks like in peak bloom season. Later on this will turn mostly yellow, and yeah. Another crucially important thing to know when it comes to grass identification is what awns are, and awns are sort of the long, thin, trailing appendages that attach to the back of grass seeds. This plant, as you can hopefully see here, has very long awns. It is known as Hesperostipa comata, or needle and thread grass. I think that's actually my favorite grass you can find out here, just because of the way it looks. It grows quite tall, and has these long, thin, trailing awns attached to really sharp seeds, giving it the name. So again, pick a few of them up. Yeah, this is actually a really fun plant to play with because one thing you can do with it is you can grab a whole bunch and throw them at people, and if you're lucky and they're wearing soft enough fabric, they'll all stick into their clothing, and actually if you're really lucky, even their bare skin. So you can make a fun campground game out of that, just chase people around and play on the needle and thread grass tag. Now for perhaps the most well-known grass of the American Southwest. Some of you might already know this. Maybe you learned about it in your American history classes or in, as it offhandedly mentioned, in national park visitor centers everywhere throughout the region. This is Eriocome hymenoides, more commonly known as Indian ricegrass. And of course, as the name suggests, it was indeed used as a food by the first peoples. I don't exactly know how it tastes, but you know, all grasses are edible as far as I'm aware, especially with seeds, so give it a try. It's pretty good, bit interesting. You know what, I lied. I tasted this a few times today. It's not very good, but I might be selling the plant short because it has not been fully cooked, of course. In fact, I'm cooked at all. What am I talking about? It hasn't even finished developing, but I'm sure it'd be much better, especially if you're into foraging, to give it a try. But yeah, it's a very easy plant to identify, as you can see by the fruit, which are sort of pointed, but look like a teardrop at the same time, hanging off of the inflorescence. Very good one. I'm sure you can find it if you come down south. It's very common. And right next to it's another great one. This is Aristida purpurea, also known as purple threon. Now, awns, if you remember, as I said earlier, are little hair-like things that stick off of the seeds of a blade of grass. And if you were to pull this apart, I wouldn't really show up on video very well if I tried. There'd be 3 awns attached to each seed. Maybe I can give it a try. It's not going to show up very well, but yeah, and of course they are purple. So again, another very strong competitor that you can find out here in the face of many invasive grasses. Something I think is important to note about the grass species that I showed you so far today is that they are all perennials, which means that the same individual will live for year after year, sometimes quite a long time. This is the norm for grasses in the American Southwest, but there are a few annuals that are native as well, and I figure I might as well show you one today. This guy, which is quite brown looking, if I can find him. Where'd you go, buddy? Right, there we are. Is Festuca octoflora, also known as 6 weeks fescue, and it is indeed an annual. It's a very small plant, as you can hopefully see compared to my hand, and as the name implies, it lives a very, very short time. In fact, when I was just here 4 weeks ago, it was just starting to grow, and now it's already dead for the season. Truly a plant that can complete its life cycle in 6 weeks. Now, this is a pretty intact grassland, thankfully. There's quite a lot of native vegetation here still, and I could end the video here, but I think it's important to talk about one other grass species today. Every species I've showed you so far is native, but this guy, unfortunately, is not. Right in front of us, we have Bromus tectorum, also known as cheatgrass. It is a species of grass that is native to Eurasia, and unfortunately has gotten completely out of control in the West as of late. It's invaded millions of acres where it just totally dominates now, and it's really hard to describe how damaging it is to the native environment. It's, for one, completely useless as forage, so there's no economic benefit for that, but neither do deer like it or other native feeders. But most important is that it completely disrupts the native fire cycle that we have here, because this plant produces every year tons of dry grass duff that is highly flammable, and its seeds are adapted to survive this. So what happens is eventually there'll be a fire and it'll just burn a lot of the native plants, and the only thing that'll grow back will be cheatgrass. So it's in that way invaded tons and tons of acres across the West, and unfortunately I don't think there's a good way to control it, maybe just to manage its spread, but I'm afraid it's going to get increasingly more common out here as the years go on. Thanks for watching this video. You know, it's not easy making grass interesting, but I hope I did make it at least a little bit interesting today. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.